were a few years ago? I'll give you 2,000 cash right now.
2,500.
No.
No. I'd go 2,000, not a penny more.
Let's make a deal.
Okay. All right, meet you right up there. We'll write it up.
Thank you.
I gotta be honest, I was a little bummed when Mark told me it was from a different Hellhawks. But it's still a cool jacket, and I think collectors will definitely be lining up for something like this.
I have some battle plans and after-action reports from the Normandy invasion. I'm coming down to the pawn shop today to try and sell my collection of battle plans from the invasion of Normandy. They are reports that were gathered through each of the divisions and put into one document. I'm hoping to get $5,000 to $6,000 for this, but about the minimum I would take would be $2,500. I got these from my grandfather. He was in World War II with the 82nd Airborne. He worked in the plans office. It contains maps with drop zones and defensive positions.
D-Day is one of the most historic days in our nation's military history. Nazi Germany had a good hold over almost all of Europe, and the Allies needed a way in, and France was it. 160,000 men stormed the beach of Normandy, but man, was it costly. Thousands died.
Operation Neptune, summary of enemy situation.
I mean, it's really, really unique. I mean, it really tells a story about what went on that day, which a lot of people would really be interested in.
I'm just trying to figure out when these were printed.
It's going to be much cooler if we have actual pre-battle plans as opposed to a synopsis of what happened afterwards.
Okay.
All right. The invasion was June 6th. This is 28 May. This is things they want the troops to do when they land. So this would actually be part of the plans to attack. So what did you want to do with it?
I'd like to think about selling it. It's been really hard for me to find any comparable material to this to really value it.
Rick, I want somebody to look at this.
Okay, yeah. Thing is, we have two different things here. We have this bound boulder right here,
Right.
which is after the battle took place. This right here appears to be pre-battle, and I would like to know exactly what these maps are.
Okay.
So let me get a buddy of mine down here and find out exactly everything we got here.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there, all right?
All right.
Rick and the guys normally call me down when they have something military, historic. You know, I don't speak to the value of it, but I can give them some understanding of what its value is historically. So, Rick, what are your concerns on these?
This has a lot of maps and things like that in it, and I'm wondering if that is pre-battle or post-battle.
This is post-battle. You can tell that just from the cover. You're not going to know at the beginning of the battle what the end date is.
Yeah.
These maps would take you all the way through the battle, where people landed, what they did, where they went, find out what went right, what went wrong. When you want to know exactly what happened at the time, this would be the primary historical document to start from. But you said you also have pre-battle?
I'm assuming they are.
Okay. This is nice. This is where they were supposed to be, where they were supposed to come together. And what do we have here? Top secret. Oh, this is great. These are pre-battle. This is where you're going to be landing, who is going to be where, which division is going to be where. You know, these are all the places that they're supposed to land. This is how it was supposed to work. You will take Sainte-Mère-Église. You will seize and destroy crossings on the Douve River. This is amazing. The documents from before the battle are much scarcer because these were the documents that if they got into German hands before the battle actually happened, they would know exactly what we were planning on doing. These kinds of documents are going to be in places like the National Archives because it's top secret. You weren't supposed to bring this stuff home. Unfortunately, they're archival pieces rather than display pieces. These are quick production pieces from World War II. This just doesn't hold up. It is not color fast. If you get any light on it, these are the sorts of things, you put this in a frame and put it up on the wall, it's gone. These you need to just put away. They need to be in a dark, acid-free container and kept in a stable environment.
All right, you're the best. I got all the info, man.
Thank you.
All right, when I first saw these things, I was thinking big dollars because we have top secret battle plans for the invasion of Normandy. Now that I find out that I can't frame them and hang them on a wall, that's going to be a major problem. I mean, they're important pieces of history, and they should be treated as such. Unfortunately for me, I can't take them if I can't sell them. I mean, I'm a business here. I'm not a museum.
Okay, excellent.
Thanks for bringing them in.
All right.
Hey, thank you very much, sir.
There's no question these are great pieces of history, but I kind of dodged a bullet. In half a year, I would have had really expensive blank pieces of paper hanging on my wall.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good.
What do we have here?
It's a World War II bomb site.
This thing is really cool.
Are you sure it's not like a James Bond nuclear bomb or something like that?
Anyone who collects World War II stuff is going to love this. So, how much you want for this thing?
I really don't know. Based on what you shared with me, as much as possible.
Okay, let me call a guy up. He's the curator of an aviation museum, so he'll know more about it. I'll be right back.
All right, thank you.
I really hope I don't get embarrassed in this thing as a microwave oven.
You think you got a real Norden bomb site this time?
I think so. There's no identifying anything on it.
Yes, well, it's part of a Norden bomb site. What you've got is the site head. What you're missing is the stabilizer and the autopilot, the rest of the Norden bomb site. But you have the iconic part,
I have the head of the statue.
That's right. This is the part that people know. It probably was on a naval plane with the kind of wear that's on it, probably a Mark 15. It's something that anybody who is into iconic pieces from World War II, they're going to be very interested in this.
Cool.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Very cool.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll give you $800 for it.
Top secret, historical significance, head of the statue. Great mantelpiece for World War II buffs.
It's not all there. We have pieces missing. It's obviously not that secret. I'll tell you what. I'll give you $1,000. I think it's a fair price. You got it for nothing, and I got to find someone to buy it.
All good points. Fair enough. $1,000 is more than I had when I came in. I'll take it. Thank you.
Sweet. I'll meet you right around the corner and we'll do some paperwork.
Thank you.
It's not a pizza maker, but I'm going to make a lot of dough on this, hopefully.
You like it so much it's not downstairs, it's in your office?
Well, I'm thinking about, I got my bolt, I got my Norton bomb sight. So what do you think?
I mean, they're incredibly rare. They're very difficult to find because most of them were decommissioned after the war. You're lucky to get it. So developed for World War II, used in most of the major bomber aircraft. So the B-17 by Boeing, the B-24 by Douglas. B-17 had a crew of 10 men. And now there was a pilot, a co-pilot, there was a navigator, and there was specifically a bombardier. You, as the bombardier, have to decide when to let the bombs go. Before this, they used to have to do charts, and it would take them so long to figure it out that they were already missing their targets. Because of this site, the accuracy improved dramatically for the bombers. This allowed them to get within about a 30-meter circle of where they were trying to hit from 20,000 feet. And that's why they were so advanced that they wound up using them all the way to the beginning stages of Vietnam. They're dropping thousands and thousands of tons of bombs based on one of these sites.
That's crazy. I didn't know exactly what one of these things looked like, so I had Mark Patton look at it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he says, yeah, this is a Norton bomb site, at least the major part of one.
Yes. Well, there's an eye cup that goes here. You can see this part, the post is gone, but for the most part, from the ones that I've seen, it is pretty much complete. This plugs in to allow it to have light, and then these lever or dials over here adjust and calibrate this site, and you're actually looking down through the plane, down at the ground. Dials help you understand your airspeed and your direction, and from that, based on charts that you have, which this whole part here slides out. And they would have done that, and they would have kept different maps, charts. You do have a data plate here, U.S. Navy. Yeah, so this is the Mark 16. It's the M series. This is the standard bomb site. The U.S. Army Air Force used them, and the U.S. Navy used them.
Okay. So what do you think it's worth?
Well, one in this condition, which is I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 7. You know, there's a few minor missing parts, but it's mostly clean and mostly together. It's nice that you have the data plate. That really helps it. And this appeals to military collectors, but also instrument collectors, because this is the end of an era. It was the height of what you could do with instrumentation. So I think in this condition, it's at least $2,500.
For free. Okay, cool, because I paid $1,000 for it.
You did?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Oh, yeah. All right, man, I got some other stuff to show you. Come on.
Oh, it's really cool.
I might actually keep that, though.
It looks good on your desk.
Hello, how can I help you today?
Hi, I found this awesome jacket at a thrift store. I loved the style and all the patches. I knew it meant something to somebody.
This is definitely cool. We even got some dice right here, perfect for Las Vegas.
There we go, yeah.
How much are you looking to get for it?
I was thinking about $350.
That's not out of the question, but I think a lot of the value here is going to be in these patches, because there's tons of patches, especially from this period, World War II area, that patches are worth, you know, $100 to several $100. You know, I'm really going to have someone come and take a look at this, because there's maybe 100 patches on it.
Yeah.
If you have a few minutes, I'll make a phone call.
I do.
Get my guy down here, and he's a real nerd for military stuff.
Okay.
He'll probably know all about these patches and about this jacket.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Give me a few minutes, all right?
Okay, thank you. I would love for an expert to come in and look at this jacket, because I'd like to know a little bit more information about it and some details about some of these really cool patches.
Wow. Pretty freaking cool, huh? I'm pretty sure it's World War II. I mean, you could probably tell me better.
Absolutely, yes. This is a model 1943 field jacket. Standard issue infantry jacket. The jacket itself is very common, but military patches, especially from World War II, some of them are highly collectible. Now, the thing that makes a patch good, it's the rarity of the patch, or like a famous division. If a division or a regiment did something really well known. I mean, I can already tell you in here, this is 82nd Airborne. They jumped into Normandy on D-Day. This is 101st Airborne. If you ever saw Band of Brothers, that's all 101st Airborne guys.
I thought the photographer patch was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I will say this, I don't know whose jacket this was, but if I had to guess, being a photographer makes sense, because if you were in World War II, you would be in a specific infantry division. You wouldn't get the chance to meet all these people. A photographer might be. I think it was somebody's collection of their time during the war. Let me take a look at some of these other patches. So the more I look at this, the more excited I am by it. I mean, well, I'll do the big one. This was known as a blood chit. So this is a Pacific issued patch, and it was typically used by American pilots and airmen. And they would sew it on the back of the leather jackets or on the inside. And if they went down, this would basically translate to something like, I'm an American soldier, please help me and you'll be rewarded. So that patch is extremely rare. This is an $800 patch.
$800?
We're getting closer to that $350 you wanted.
Oh, no.
So what kind of value do you think this thing has altogether?
I've been doing this for almost 2 decades. I've never seen anything like this. It truly is one of a kind. 6,500?
Wow, yes, thank you.
Wish I gave it a 350. Thank you.
Sorry. Good luck.
Thank you. Wow.
I'm sure you like what he had to say.
More than $350.
With that being said, it's really cool. I could give you 2,500. That's a lot more than you were asking.
Maybe 4,000?
You know, I wish I could, but I have to be able to sell it. I mean, at $2,500, I'm in it at a fair amount.
To go up about $500 more dollars. 3,000? Just a little bit more.
I'll do 3,000.
3,000?
Let's go write it up.
Thank you.
Leave it right here. Come on.
Okay, thank you. I'm getting married soon, and I was hoping that the $350 would at least help with the cake. And then now getting $3,000 is gonna pay for a cake and hopefully a photographer too.
Today I'm looking at a completely original 1944 Willys Army Jeep. How's it going?
It's going well, man. How are you?
I'm Rick.
TC, nice to meet you.
So this is the Willys Jeep.
Yeah, this is a 1944 Willys Jeep. It's been pretty much fully restored. It's in great shape, runs awesome.
They made them so they're really simple, really reliable. They're four-wheel drive, so they basically go anywhere. And they tried to make them GI-proof, but I don't think anything's actually GI-proof.
I called Rick to come take a look at my 1944 Willys Jeep. I'm selling the Jeep now because I just bought a house and I'm starting a family and I really just don't have any room for it.
This is incredible. Originally, there wasn't a company called Jeep. The whole Jeep name sort of happened, and there's a few different theories on it. The one theory I like the best is Popeye actually had this invisible magic dog in some of his episodes, and its name was Jeep.
Oh, wow.
And the thing was like indestructible, it could do like anything. And then the other theory is it was the general purpose vehicle, the GP.
Okay.
Sort of translates into Jeep.
That makes sense.
They were incredible vehicles for their time. Where did you get this thing?
I actually got it off a buddy of mine who was a Marine. He fully restored it. It's got all the original parts.
I'm pretty impressed, actually.
I mean, it's in really good shape.
Because usually these things were so bastardized, it was unbelievable. So many guys bought surplus Jeeps from World War II, and then they tried to customize them, and then a lot of them just tried to keep them running with, you know, bubble gum and duct tape.
Right.
So it's rare you find them that are completely original like this.
Yeah, it's pretty stock.
So how much are you looking to get out of it?
Well, I was thinking 25.
Does the gun come with it?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. I have a buddy that's like an hour from here, and he would know a lot more about this than me. Do you mind if I get him down here to take a look at it?
Sure.
All right.
I'm actually glad that there's an expert coming to look at this Jeep because I know it's in very good condition, and I think Rick's good about it.
Wow. This thing is gorgeous. What year is it?
1944.
All right. So in July 1940, the U.S. Army sees that they're probably going to get pulled into World War II. They realized they needed a sort of all-purpose utility vehicle that was four-wheel drive. Willys was actually granted the first contract. The cool thing is, Willys goes on to start making the CJ series, the civilian Jeep series. And really, the Jeeps that are made today are very recognizable, having this been their sort of grandfather, and the design really hasn't changed all that much. So the thing I need to do is basically establish how original this is. The more original parts, the more valuable it is.
Okay.
The biggest thing I look for on a Willys is right here is a data plate. The serial number is consistent with 1944, so no question that the body or the tub and the frame are original 1944. That is great. The next thing we need to do is check the engine. Can you help me pop this?
Sure.
Well, I don't have to look that hard. That is a post-war engine. A CJ engine from the 1940s, which is very popular to do with these Jeeps. They're a little bit more reliable, but for a collector purist, they want a World War II engine.
Okay.
It's still a gorgeous Jeep, and I think actually the last thing we need to do is...
You guys want to take it for a spin?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've even got some helmets for you.
I'm good.
Safety first, Rick.
I don't consider that a safe helmet. There we go. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like a Cadillac. Yeah!
This is so awesome.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That was cool.
I gotta admit, I'm deeply impressed.
TC, thank you so much.
Sure.
That was so fun.
So I'm assuming it runs perfect.
It runs perfect. It handled everything it was supposed to handle.
So what do you think it's worth?
I think you could get $25,000 for it, Rick.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. I think this is a great buy because it appeals to Jeep collectors and military collectors, so it's a broader base.
All right, so what's your best price on it?
Well, I was hoping to get 25.
You take 18?
I can't go that low, man. I can come down, but not that far. 23?
How about 19 grand? I'm gonna have expenses. I gotta ship this thing back to the West Coast.
I don't know if I can go that low. Out of 22.
I'll make it plain and simple. I'll give you 20 grand. It's more than a fair price.
I've never been one for history.
All right, 20.
Sweet. Let's go do some paperwork and
right.
I get this thing shipped to Vegas.
Cool. I decided to take the 20,000 because I really just need this Jeep gone. I'm gonna take the money and put an addition on the back of my house.
So I'm in the middle of the desert in search of a tank for the shop's lot. Apparently, there's an authentic Sherman tank for sale. that was used, get this, in Iwo Jima during World War II. It doesn't get much better than that. It's going to be an explosive day. So, are we close?
Almost there. 5 more minutes out. That's it right there. That's the Sherman.
Wow.
All right, we're here.
Look at that tank.
Holy that is amazing.
The tank the guys are looking at right now is an M4A3 Sherman. What makes this tank special, it's the only Sherman tank in private hands that was actually used in the Pacific Theater. Real Marines jumped into during Iwo Jima, and now they can relive that history as well.
This is incredible. So this thing actually saw action in Iwo Jima.
This one did. It did see action. It was knocked out 3 times in the first 24 hours. It was finally taken out of service when they hit the turret at the turret bearing, and we met the gentleman who had to back it out. He's still alive today.
I look at it, I just find it incredible because, I mean, it's from Iwo Jima. I mean, it's like when they raised the flag on Mount Suribachi, I mean, it's probably the most iconic photo of all of World War II. How much you want for this thing?
I'm looking to get $1.5 million.
Okay, but we get to drive it?
You can drive it and you can shoot it.
It's pretty damn cool.
You need to go call Corey. Tell him to come down here. He's not gonna want to miss this, okay?
All right.
Can you, like, point it into a direction so I'm in a straight line?
You can do that, too.
The guy's asking $1.5 million, and that kind of money, I'm thinking about it, but before I do anything, I'm gonna have to drive it, and I'm gonna have to fire it.
Okay, here we go. Yee-hoo! Yeah, Rick. World War II tanks are always going to have an iconic place in a collector's mind. And when thinking about World War II tanks, you think Sherman tank. But the Shermans were reliable, they were quick, they were easy to fix, and they had good firepower. So if you want a World War II tank, you want a Sherman.
Here we go. That was amazing!
Nice job, Rick.
The door of that car was up for like 4 seconds.
Oh, man, this has been the greatest day of my life, by the way. Not when you were born, Corey, no.
Back to where it all began.
This is much better than that, I'm sure.
You did a good job, Pops.
Oh, look at that car.
What do you think, Alex?
I mean, it is what it is. It speaks for itself. Shermans are the most desired American tank from World War II. It runs well, it fires well, it's got historical provenance from Iwo Jima. There's one that we know of that sold in the last year that wasn't documented to be at any major battle in World War II, and it was sold for $1.2 million. So at $1.5 million, I think that's a fair price.
Okay.
Let's get out of here. I'll meet you at the Humvee.
You know, I mean, when me and Alex started discussing me buying a tank, I was thinking I could get into something like this for a couple $100,000 because they made like 50,000 of these, right?
A little more than that.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's got amazing history. Everything about it is absolutely great. But it's so out of the ballpark for me. Thanks, man. Amazing day. This is like one of the greatest days of my life, dude. I drove a tank and I blew something up with a tank.
Oh my God.
What do we got?
Hey, I have a military payment certificate. It's a $20 one. and they were paid to military personnel to keep the American dollar out of enemies' hands. They were produced around 1940 to 1972.
So how was Vietnam?
I came down to the pawn shop today to sell a military payment certificate. It was paid to military personnel overseas. My son purchased it at a coin auction. I'm hoping to get $250 out of it for my son to go to a Boy Scout trip this summer.
Military payment certificate for use only in the United States military establishments, $20. They're pretty cool. When the U.S. was fighting overseas, there was a problem with U.S. soldiers trading American dollars on the black market. So to stop U.S. dollars from getting in the hands of enemies, our government actually came up with temp currency. This isn't money. This is a coupon that's redeemable for currency. You're in the Army, you're in Vietnam, and they hand you this instead of real money.
Okay.
I mean, it was an extreme morale killer. Most of these guys are over there in Vietnam. They didn't want to be there. They got drafted into going. They're making just a very small amount of money, and when they go to get paid, they get handed some fake coupon thing that says it's money, but it's not.
Okay.
How much are you looking to get?
$250.
$250. Okay. I've seen these go as high as $2,500, $3,000, and I'm sure they've gone for more. And I've seen them sell for $4. It's all about condition, and all this staining that you see right here, it really just knocks the value down. I'd go like $100.
Can you do $150?
I'll go $125. It's the most I'm gonna pay for it.
Okay, deal.
Deal? All right. Meet me over there, I'll write you up.
Okay. I feel pretty good. I think my son will enjoy going to Boy Scout camp this summer.
Hey, how can I help you?
Good afternoon.
A cavalry sword.
Civil War officer sword, model 1860. Belonged to Colonel Bassett.
This is pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
I'm selling a model 1860 officer's Civil War sword. I found the sword up around Yosemite. The sword is in beat-up condition, considering it went through 22 battles. I'm selling the sword because my wife wanted a new kitchen, and my wife should get what she wants.
What's his name again?
Bassett.
Okay. Do you know much about this?
Colonel Bassett came into the Civil War as a captain into the 17th Regiment, one of the most highly decorated officers, because he went in as captain, came out as a brev general, went through 22 skirmishes and battles, and was there at Lee's surrender. There's no other sword that's seen as much battle as this sword has seen.
Okay. What do you want to do with this?
I'm going to sell it.
And how much do you want for it?
20 grand.
20 grand. You mind if I have someone look at this?
No, I would actually welcome it.
All right, I will be right back. Hang out.
Okay. It is always nice to have an expert look at it. I'm excited to listen to what he has to say. It's history, and that's what excites me, is to relive the history of what these guys went through during the Civil War.
The problem is, I don't know if it was used in battle, and I know nothing about this Bassett guy. So I'm bringing in the smartest guy I know because he's always got the answers. This is the sword of the colonel that he says was later a general.
Okay, this is the Colonel Bassett that you called me
yes,
about?
That is the guy, Colonel Bassett. I've never heard of him.
You know, one of the things about the Civil War is there are so many men involved that a lot of officers sort of drop off the radar. You know, you hear about the real big name ones, and you hear the ones that got some kind of really cool name, Stonewall Jackson or something like that. Isaac Bassett, there's no cool name there. I'm curious, what is your concern about it? It is obviously a Civil War sword.
No, I mean, it's got his list of his battles right here. It's got some It's got his name engraved on it.
It would have been extremely unusual for Bassett to have this done. You didn't engrave your own sword.
Correct.
People would give them to you. Given that this is Colonel Bassett, and it's ending it with Gettysburg, that makes sense, because he made colonel in May of 1863. Gettysburg is July of 1863, so this was probably given to him as a presentation piece. Everything fits, everything's right, and this is an absolutely original Civil War presentation sword, and you don't normally find those.
I mean, he's saying that this was broken off in battle, and I don't think there's any way to prove that.
No. Because if this was done from something hitting it, you would see some sign of bending. It looks to me like it's just a snap. My guess is if something like this had actually been broken in battle, there'd be a record of it. He would have made sure of that.
Okay. You gave me all the information I need and more.
I always try.
You're the best, man.
Good to see you. Very good to meet you. Thank you. Unfortunately, the sword is in terrible condition because if it was in good shape, you'd have people lining up around the block that would want this.
All right, I'll tell you right now, if this thing was in beautiful condition, I'd offer you $10,000 for it because you have a Civil War general sword. But it's just, the break in it just detracts so much. In this shape, I'll offer you $2,500.
Well, I'll have to decline that.
Okay. I mean, what's your best price?
Yeah, we're too far apart.
I completely understand, but thanks for bringing it in, man. I really appreciate it.
I very much appreciate you looking at it.
Okay.
The expert brought up 2 or 3 facts that I was totally unaware of. I think I'm going to continue coming up with some more research, and then I'll probably put it back up for sale.
Hey, how can I help you?
Hi, I've got a 1943 World War II Morse code decipher machine.
Wow. You gotta realize most of the World War II coding machines were still illegal to have up to like 10 years ago. No, literally, you could go to prison for a long, long time for having one.
Okay.
Even World War II ones. No one here in a black car followed you or anything, did they?
No, I think I'm good. It's the machine that they use deciphering Morse code. I got it from a friend of mine about a year ago.
He did this to me.
It's kind of cool.
The King of Brian. And he wants me to be... Oh, God. Please. I don't know how I'm doing this, nor if I may again. Help me. Help us before he... Before...
cool, but money's cooler. I'm gonna ask $300 for it. I'll take a little less, but not too much. We'll have to see how that goes.
It's mega intriguing, okay? Militaries have always used code. Almost all the messages were used through telegraph. And during World War II, they were really difficult to decode. Sometimes we broke them, sometimes we didn't. Code breaking was very, very important during World War II. And if you screwed up in your Morse code just a little bit, people could die. So if it's what he says it is, I would love to have this in my shop. So do you know if it works?
It turns on. I haven't run a tape through it, so.
There's obviously a lot of vacuum tubes or something to make it this damn heavy.
Yes, yeah, it's extremely heavy.
That's World War II technology right there. It's all here. It's all the original wiring. I like it. So how much you want for it?
Well, I was gonna ask 300.
Okay, I want to call somebody up who will tell me what the hell this is.
Oh, works for me.
He would be impressed, and he will know if you're going to prison or not. So hang out like 15 minutes, all right? This is the Super Enigma version of a World War II decoder or a really weird film projector. I don't know. Apparently, you put something Morse code in, and it beeps out the other end.
TG-34A, this was one of the most used types of Morse equipment that we had in World War II. I did bring something down here that I think will help you to understand exactly what this is.
Okay, and that is secret code?
That is actually the tape that goes into this.
How the hell do you have
that? To be perfectly honest, this was in my garage. So I figured I'd bring it down so that you could see it. Okay.
Yeah, you were just one weird guy.
But this would actually be on a reel like this, and it would beep either with dits or dots.
Dits or dots?
Dits or dots. Dits are the short beeps, dots are the long beeps. But most men who went into the service didn't know Morse code. They had to be taught. This is a training machine.
Oh, wow.
A machine like this was really important because one dit or dot wrong, and you can completely throw off a battle, throw off a plan, tell people to go to the wrong place. So it was very important that you were actually being trained to do it precisely as you were hearing it.
So this was not used in the battlefield, obviously. This was used in the States in a classroom setting.
Yes. This is a training unit.
Okay. All right, well, thanks, man. I know exactly what I have now.
All righty. During World War II, Morse code was the common language that could be used. It's one of those codes that a lot of people know. But in the military, you had to be so exact that you had to go back to school to learn it.
You know what? It looks like it's in good shape. I have no idea if I can sell it. I'll give you $200.
I went online and did research it, and they were between $500 and $900.
There's one guy in the world with a really big beard with the only tape for this thing, and even he doesn't want it.
$250?
$200, and I am taking a big shot whether I'm ever going to sell this thing or not. So, if you want $200, I'll give you $200.
All right, $200.
All right, sweet, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just leave it here for now, and I'll meet you right up front.
All right, thank you. When I found out it was a training tool, I got disappointed. I'm like, there goes the price, because it's not out in the field and all that. But $200 is a fair price. That'll give me some spending money here in Vegas, and I can have some fun with that.
Woo! Adapted mind math! Come explore the site with me. I'm in first grade, so I'll pick that. Neato! A fun fishing adventure! Fish until you find the sunken ship. Oh, I'm excited! I think 9 is the answer. Hey, I got it right! But you know what's great about Adapted Mind? If I can't figure out the problem, like this one, I can click here to get an explanation.
Okay. So what exactly you got here?
It's a World War II ammunition handcart.
All right, do you know much about it?
It's a rusty old car with broken down tires. What else do you need to know?
Believe it or not, I got it out of a garbage pile.
It looks like it belongs in a garbage pile. So how would this work? Would you like hook it up to a horse?
I imagine there was a handle right there, but you wouldn't hook it up to a Jeep if you needed to. Just moving stuff around. The thing's built like a tank. I mean, obviously it was built so it could be shot. Do you know which company made it or anything like that?
There's a placard on it that just tells what area it came from.
Okay, we got hand carts and Rock Island Arsenal.
It's from World War II, I imagine. Basically, every bit of industry is making something for the war. But, you know, most people don't realize this. During World War II, there was no cars made for personal use. The saying was, stop making what you're making, start making stuff for the war. During World War II, America's policy was basically all hands on deck. Everyone was expected to help with the war. And a cart like this was an important piece of equipment. It could haul ammo, food, medical supplies. And in a pinch, you could throw a wounded soldier on it and bring him back from the battlefield. Fully restored, these things can fetch a pretty penny.
So how much you want for this thing?
I actually had it in a paper for sale with zero research. I put it in for $500.
So obviously it didn't sell for $500.
Not yet.
All right. Yeah, I mean, the one great thing you do have is it's all here. I mean, it looks neat, it looks interesting. There's a lot of collectors and stuff from World War II. My problem is, I don't even know if it'd be worth fixing up. What if I call someone? I got one buddy who knows about this stuff, and if it's not worth restoring, he might buy it off you for parts.
All right.
All right?
We are fine. Most of them went to Europe during World War II. They were used to carry everything from food to a 50 caliber machine gun. Even mortars were put in these things. This is probably made in the early 40s, and they were pretty useful. As a matter of fact, in the 1962 movie, The Longest Day, when the Duke got wounded, they put him in here and carried him into battle. It is just really cool, and they're friggin' hard to find.
Good news for me, I guess, huh?
Yeah. When I walked in, I knew it was a handcart from World War II. Everything was carried in them. Felt sorry for the guys that had to pull them, but these things went all over Europe, and they pulled a lot of things and put a lot of miles on them.
So how much is this thing worth the way it sits?
Well, these were selling for $1,500 to $2,000 in this condition.
Really? Because I thought it was a complete piece of myself.
In a restored condition, you could almost double that because they want it. If it looks like the real thing, they're happy with it.
All right, so tell me, how much would it cost to restore it?
Probably talking about $1,200 to $1,400.
Honestly, I didn't think it was worth that much either.
I'm still sort of like baffled. I'll tell you what, I'll give you $400 for it.
That's not too far off of what I was asking in the paper, so I'll take $400 if you'll take a picture of it when you finish it.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of when I finish
That'd be cool, all right.
I bought a really cool World War II ammunition cart, and my buddy Bob has been restoring it. There's always hidden cost in restorations, and I hope when it's all said and done, there's some room for some serious profit here.
So what do you guys think? Well?
This thing looks pretty good.
It does look cool.
Looks straight out of G.I. Joe, the movie.
Well, hey, we'll grab our rifles, we'll grab our guns, and we'll join.
It doesn't look anything what it looked like.
No. Well, it took a lot of work. Actually, this little small thing was so intense to get it done. It was pretty tough.
What'd you have to do?
Well, I ripped the floor out and I actually made new ribs for it. I put all the original holes where they're supposed to be. So that way, if you want to mount a 50 caliber in here, you can.
Okay.
I think it came out pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I was absolutely shocked that it looks like this thing right here, because when I gave it to you, it looked like hell.
You gotta realize this thing went through World War II. You know, it was just a tough life this thing had.
You were telling me before, these sell for like $2,500?
I'll be honest with you, I would start at $2,800 and feel where you're comfortable from there. I wouldn't let it go for a dime less. Because the collectors that go for these, you know, it's got to be original, and with the numbers on there, it pops.
So what do the numbers mean?
It's the 6th Vehicle Headquarters, 3rd Division, so you should be able to get a good price for it.
Big question, how much are you?
Well, like I said, I told you $1,400, and that's it.
Okay, let me go pay you.
Let me see what it gets like with a little weight in here.
So you can pull 185 pounds?
Yeah, but you're more like 240.
Chum looked like a real soldier pulling Rick around. I'm surprised Rick even got in the cart.
Slow down, chum, slow down. I just got a call from some guy who says he's got some high-tech military vehicle for sale. Sounds like something he should be selling to the Pentagon. But I'm gonna go check it out. Maybe I can get it first.
Whoa.
What in the world is this?
Batman's tank.
It's a prototype hybrid intended for the military.
Awesome.
So where exactly did you get it?
Company that built military components. They spent over $1 million building it, and I couldn't pass it up.
All right. Well, it is pretty badass, I can tell you that.
Had a gun on top?
That's a camera that holds a gun. It held a 50 caliber or an M16. Set up like a fighter pilot. You got a navigator and a gunner. They're all behind bulletproof glass.
Obviously, someone did spend a lot of money on it. Military contractors spend millions developing prototypes like this, and if the Pentagon actually orders these things, the payoff could be astronomical. So I can get in?
Absolutely.
Don't hurt yourself now.
Yeah, this is not exactly fat guy friendly.
Well, I don't think they wanted people to get out of it.
Actually, it's not too bad.
Yeah, see?
Especially if you were in military shape.
Now, have you driven it?
I haven't driven it. They didn't give me the way to start it.
You know what? This would be a lot of brain damage trying to figure out how to get going, especially when there's no manual.
Right.
Come on, Rick. You've got the biggest head at the shop. You could figure it out.
Maybe.
So how much you looking to get out of it?
I'm asking 150.
I don't know whether to tell you you're crazy or maybe.
I'm a little crazy. There's a lot of doomsdayers and bunker nuts, and you know, somebody is gonna want this.
Do you mind if I call up somebody?
I don't know who you could possibly know that would know anything about it.
I know a guy who deals a little bit in military vehicles. He might be able to help me out with this.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea.
As soon as I figure out a way to get out of here, I'm gonna give him a call.
I hope the guy knows what he's talking about. There are a lot of expensive components that are not going to be able to be seen just by crawling around the vehicle.
This is the apparatus.
Nice.
Will is a former Army Ranger and Air Force pararescue man. And even though I hate to admit it, he knows a lot more about modern military equipment like this than I do.
So I'm actually familiar with this, and it's very cool. I mean, obviously, there were some guys that put some real time and effort and engineering into this. So you could put a small team of guys in and move them very quickly on the battlefield, faster than you could in a tank or something like that. I spent 15 years in the military. Special operations is what I do. Some people think you have to be a little crazy to be in special ops. I prefer to think of it as gifted, not crazy.
So is this legal to own?
Yeah, I know guys that own Hellcat tanks that actually shoot, so, I mean, there's no reason why you can't own this. Now, whether or not it's street legal is another question.
It's got headlights and blinkers and should all work, but right, it should.
Should.
So how come the military never bought these?
For this particular vehicle, I mean, I see a lot of complicated mechanical parts and wires running everywhere. It doesn't look like it's going to hold up to an IED blast. Why would you go with a vehicle like this that tactically just looks unmanageable? Getting your product picked up by the government, it's a hard process to go through. You're going to spend a lot of money developing it, and if you fail, you just wasted all your time and money.
So, can you figure out a price on this thing?
The engine alone is probably worth anywhere from $7,000 to $13,000. The body itself, it looks cool, but what are you going to do with it? I would say maybe $25,000, $30,000 tops.
Really? You really think that low, huh?
Collectors want vehicles that were actually used by militaries around the world. Because this is a prototype, the fact that it doesn't work could become an issue. I can't see a whole lot of people going after this thing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks a lot. Millions of dollars went into the development of that vehicle, but millions of dollars also went into the development of tourniquets. And a tourniquet costs $35.
So you still want 150 grand for it?
The high dollar parts that are in this thing. We're still just over 100 grand.
We don't know if anything works.
Are you interested in it at all?
I mean, for like 20 grand.
To get this thing running is anywhere between 50 bucks and 500,000.
20 grand on the table, man.
95,000 is kind of what I got to be at.
We're just way too far apart.
Okay.
If you change your mind, give me a call.
All right. I've got a couple other offers. If the next offer is the right offer, then I'll let it go.
So, what did I tell you about the swords?
Not to take your life.
Not to play with them. They're not toys.
I know. I'm a sensei. Master ninja.
Is the strongest
How can I help you?
metal of them
I have a
all.
1873 Winchester.
Oh, sweet.
It was from the Battle of Wounded Knee. I got the documents to prove it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty significant in history.
What's the Battle of Wounded Knee?
The Battle of Wounded Knee, or the Massacre of Wounded Knee, because that's basically what it was. It was the winter of 1890. In South Dakota, the Lakota Indians were camped out next to a river. The 7th Cavalry was going to disarm them. They went into the camp. One of the Indians did not want to give up his gun. Somewhere, a shot rang out. The 7th Cavalry started shooting like crazy. Basically what they did is they started just massacring everybody. This was the last, I think, major conflict with American Indians. The Wounded Knee Massacre was a huge screw-up by the U.S. Army. Most of the Native Americans that were killed were not even armed, including women and children. And it's important in history because this was basically the end of the Indian Wars, which had been going on since Columbus landed here. How much are you looking to get out of it?
I wouldn't take less than 60,000.
Whoa. I just want my buddy to look at it. I just want to make sure this was actually from the Battle of Wounded Knee. We have paperwork here. I just want to make sure everything jives correctly.
All right.
Okay.
Yep.
Winchesters were popular with Native Americans for the same reasons they were popular with whites, because they were extremely reliable, extremely powerful, and it was just a really great gun.
And most of these guns, they were just traded for, correct?
Well, there was even a time when the United States military actively sought to arm Native Americans, and they would obviously do so with tribes that were on good terms with the government, and also some of them were obviously taken in battle. So Native Americans had guns for a long time, and the Wounded Knee Massacre was really kind of the last great event of the 19th century's Indian Wars. A really terrible moment in the history of the American West. The massacre at Wounded Knee, unfortunately, was a time when attitudes toward Native Americans were still quite negative. But this was a moment when things started to shift, somewhat more sympathetically toward Native Americans. If we can tie it directly to the Wounded Knee Massacre, the 7th Cavalry, the significance of the gun increases dramatically. It's much more than your standard 73 carbine. Well, let's take a look and see what we got here. So what we have here is the unservable ordnance story. Basically, it's a 19th century Excel worksheet. I mean, it's a sheet that's telling what they have, the serial numbers, the condition, and what they were going to do with it. Colonel James Forsyth, he was the commander of the 7th Cavalry, so that makes sense. January 3, 1891. Now, what's interesting about that particular day, after the battle took place on December 29th, the weather was terrible. As a result of a snowstorm, it wasn't until several days later that the 7th Cavalry was able to go back to the battle site and actively pick up and collect any weapons that had been discarded. A few of the other names down here, Whitside, he was a major, he was the commander of the 1st Squadron. So most of what we're seeing here matches up. I mean, this is the names we should see, these are the dates that we should see. So on here, it's listing this gun. Can you show me that?
Yeah, the 631, I think that's this 631.
Let's take a look here. Okay.
And then the serial number, it says 50423.
We got a Winchester 73 carbine, 50423.
Another.
All right, so you have some really good paperwork here. So now the one thing we don't have in any of this is Wounded Knee. Those two words are missing from everything we have on here. But given all of the information that we have, the two individuals, the dates on it, I think we can make the assumption that this gun was taken in the aftermath of the Wounded Knee Massacre.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
Aren't you going to put a price on it?
Well, I work at a museum. I'm not an appraiser, so I'm not going to put a financial value on here.
I was kind of hoping that you'd probably say it was worth a couple $100,000, and then I could say, well, give me 60%.
I'm sure you were.
All right, I'm convinced it's from the Massacre at Wounded Knee. Let's talk about your price. You want way too much. You just don't get that kind of money for a gun unless there is something very, very special and it's associated with an individual. I give you like 14,000 bucks for it. Oh, I mean, if you put this in auction, you will get right around that number.
Like 12,000.
You have 12,000 into the gun. So what's the lowest number you'll go?
I'd go 50.
Obviously, we're not going to do any business. Check around. Like I said, I really am being completely sincere with you.
No, I believe you.
All right, have a nice day.
Thank you very much.
This guy is off his rocker if he thinks I will pay 50 grand for that gun.
I shall not
Plain
suffer
and
this
simple.
humiliation again.
Hopefully, he checks around town, gets a lot of prices, comes crawling right back to me.
We have a World War II German Enigma coding machine.
An Enigma. These are amazing. I've seen pictures of them. I've read about them. I've never actually seen one in person.
I mean, this thing was responsible for the rise and the fall of the entire German war machine.
Where in the world did you get this?
My father and I have an Enigma museum, and we treasure hunt.
This thing won't make me understand women, will it?
That's an enigma.
During World War II, if a German commander wanted to send a secret message to his troops out in the field, this is what he used. And the Germans thought this machine was completely unbreakable.
Pleasure, lady.
I'm surprised any of them survived.
Not many did. There are 3 that I know of in the United States on display right now. One is at a science museum in Chicago, one is at the NSA's Crypto Museum in Washington, and one is at the International Spy Museum. At the end of the war, they would destroy these in the field rather than let them fall into the hands of the enemy. So more often than not, they are in horrendous condition.
Now, this one right here, I mean, you actually found it intact?
No, this machine has parts that have been replaced.
Okay, so these are extra rotors.
That's a reproduction box with 2 rotors.
Okay.
This thing is so incredibly cool. Cracking the Enigma code was one of the top projects of World War II. It took years to do it, but in the end, it did save millions of lives. I really want this thing, but I've never had one in my shop. I need someone to look at it. I'm out of my league here.
And how much do you want for it?
$149,300.
That's an odd number.
I think it's a fair price.
My big problem is I've seen them sell for $200,000. I've seen them sell for $30,000, and you look at them, they all look the same. So I'm going to call in a friend who knows a little bit more than I do about these things and see if he can figure it out.
All right.
Hey, what's up, man?
Good to see you. What do you got?
A mystery wrapped in a riddle.
Yeah, it's an Enigma machine. It's pretty cool.
Coolest thing about these things is that they named it the Enigma.
Good work. With the road to the Frisian forest clear again, I trekked through to the...
Who'd have thought?
I awoke. Feverish and barely conscious, I set to drawing these maps through the sable hours. By morning, my fingers ached, my eyes burned, yet still I found no rest. The reverie commanded its rendering. The reverie device now stands completed. I've placed the first of my maps within its receptacle. I've taken my maiden voyage into nightmare. I know now that which sent me this precious gift. It knows me, expects my return. It would be foolish to disappoint.
What are you doing? God drag you to damnation if you're gonna stand by and let this happen to me, to us! Because believe me, the Brian King has far greater appetites than one nothing of a girl from Oriath. It doesn't matter what he'll do to me now. It's what he'll do to Rayclast. Yet there's hope. There's always hope. If only you can reach Mervale's cave. If only...
Abarath.
offer. Release this land to the will of its true children.
The Asmeri. I will never get the smell out of my clothes.
Another. Stay sharp out there.
Yeah.
Good tidings to you.
Greetings. Farewell.
Right, that is cool.
If I had a dog, that's what I'd name him.
I do have a dog. He's an idiot. My name is Will Willis. I'm a former Army Ranger and Air Force pararescueman, and I specialize in military items. The hardest part of being in the military for me was getting a haircut every week. Nothing like having a baby slick head for 4 years makes you think that hair's kind of nice.
It's one of the coolest things that's ever been in this shop. It really is.
Yeah, it is. It is a really cool thing, and it's really significant when you talk about being able to encrypt your messages to your generals and your soldiers. You know, having a machine like this that allows you to send those messages in secret is really a critical thing. And it was critical to us, the Allied forces, to be able to decipher these messages. And when we decrypted the machines, it shortened the war by 2 years.
Yeah, this is like uber nerd cool. It really is.
Germany's foreign policy was to conquer the world during World War II. So making them believe that their messages were encrypted in secret was critical towards winning that war in a shorter period of time. So which parts were missing when you found it?
The warning plate and the rotors.
Okay. Do we have matching serial numbers throughout?
Do not.
Okay, so how many rotors match the machine itself?
None.
Okay.
The serial number wasn't what drove the process. The rotor number was.
But the serial number drives the price.
Okay. I know the price of these things are all over the place.
Right. The most expensive one went for over $200,000. We've got 3 matched rotors with serial numbers. They don't match the machine itself. The box doesn't have a serial number on it. We've got a recreated box, and considering what things have been selling for that are unrestored with matching serial numbers, I would price this at $70,000 altogether.
Well, I think my price is fair.
Yeah, because he was asking $149,300.
Well, the most expensive one that ever sold was for $200,000. That one was in a movie. I think the more fair price is $70,000 for everything.
Well, thanks, man.
You got it. I think that sellers get this perception that, like, I put in all this work, it's worth way more than what it really is.
I'm going to go with Will on this one. I'd give you 50 grand for it.
I can't do that.
I mean, what is your lowest number?
115,000.
We're way too far off. We just are. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. This really sucks because the likelihood of another one coming in my shop is not good. But we are over 60 grand apart, and that's way too much ground to even try and cover. But you know what? I really did want that thing.
I have a World War II patch. This is an Alamo Scouts patch.
Whoa. Where in the world did you get this?
So my grandfather was actually an Alamo Scouts, and this has been handed down to me from my father.
That is really neat. I know that patch is one of the holy grails of like World War II patches.
Oh, yeah.
You there.
I'm here at Gold and Silver today to sell my grandfather's Alamo Scouts patch. I'd like to sell the patch because I can use the money for a trip to take my children on. I'm looking to get $6,500, but I'll go as low as $5,000.
This is cool. They were like Navy SEAL, commando, special forces, all wrapped up in one.
So this is my grandfather's training certificate. He was actually a medical aide for the Scouts.
To whom it may concern, this is certified that Dominic
Scipio.
Private, 24th Infantry Division, has successfully completed the prescribed course of instruction at the Alamo Scouts Training Center from 16 July 44 to 19 January 45.
The Alamo Scouts were a very elite unit that did long-range reconnaissance. They also were considered bodyguards for General Kruger.
I know that you had to volunteer for this. My understanding was the training was absolutely insane.
Yes.
You know, it was just massively brutal. And then they go like, all right, you 6, we're gonna throw you on like a Japanese island and you might be there for a few months and you're gonna have to live off the land. They had to get on these islands, scout them out without getting caught, radio everything back, and survive for just unbearable conditions. And probably the most impressive thing about these guys is, though, over 100 missions, no one got killed. I don't know if it's the most collectible patch from World War II, but it's one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And you're looking to sell it?
I'm ready to sell it.
How much did you want for it?
$6,500.
All right, first off, let me have someone look at this.
Okay. Sounds good.
You know, it's one of those things where a little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
Sure.
This is one of the most sought-after World War II patches, and it's also the most fake. Let me get a hold of somebody, get it down here. This guy will know everything about this.
Good. Sounds good.
Give me 2 or 3 minutes. We have the Alamo Scouts patch and his graduation certificate.
Wow, that's interesting.
Okay, so now this was like a secret organization, but not secret?
It was, yeah. The fellow who ran the 6th Army, General Walter Kruger, decided that he needed a long-range group of scouts, and they basically answered directly to him. But it wasn't a unit that the Army assigned you to. The patches were designed by the unit, and because these were unofficial, there were only 440 made. And as a member of the unit, you could buy them.
That's cool. But here's the big question, is it an original patch?
When you called, I looked up Mr. Sicipio, and he was a member of the Alamo Scouts. He wasn't one that went in, but he was part of the unit.
But he did have to do all the training and everything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you mind if I take a close look?
Sure, absolutely.
The manufacturing looks right to me. You know, the construction looks right. Because of the paperwork, because of the look, construction, I'm going with 80% that this is, in fact, an original Alamo Scouts patch.
Okay, thanks, man. If it's 80% from you, it's 99% from everybody else.
Very good to meet you. Thank you.
All right.
If Rick is able to get this, this is not going to stay in the shop long. This is one of those patches that any World War II collection has to have. This is rare.
So, what's your best price on this?
6,000.
Okay. I'm thinking more like 2,500. You know, when I called him, I checked online. Last one I saw sold for 4,200 bucks. It's not going to sell overnight, and I have to make some money on this, otherwise I'm not going to be in business long. Your best price is?
5,000.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll give you $3,000 for it.
I can't at that price.
Okay, 32.
4,800.
If you change your mind, give me a call.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you.
I have a rare Civil War era photograph of a property at Gettysburg on Emmitsburg Road.
Okay.
I believe it to be the Wentz House.
The Wentz House.
Which was in the middle of the Peach Orchard battle.
Actually, I know nothing about this house.
I have a rare Civil War era photograph. I believe it's the Wentz home in Gettysburg National Park. I'm looking to get $15,000 for the photograph. If I'm able to sell this today, I'll probably go out and buy some more unique items. And it has a crazy backstory to it. Childhood home of Henry Wentz. He ended up in the Confederate Army. Came and fought at the Peach Orchard when his father was in that house.
Okay.
There's questions about, is this actually the Wentz house? I'm not exactly sure. It is Gettysburg National Military Park, but it's unsure what house it is.
I mean, it sounds really interesting. Anything to do with Gettysburg is interesting, okay? It's literally the battle that completely changed the course of American history. Have you ever seen any other pictures of this, or?
Not of this. The Library of Congress does have one picture, supposedly, of the Wentz house. So you'd have to, like, request it.
Okay. It's in relatively good shape for being that old, because photographs at this time period, when they're put on paper like this, the paper and everything else wasn't the top quality meant to last.
Sure.
So how much you want for it?
I'm asking for $15,000.
Okay. Anything related to Gettysburg is worth money. If you can prove a gun was there, it's worth money. I mean, a Civil War uniform, if you can prove, there was a soldier actually wearing it at Gettysburg,
it automatically bumps up the value. Anything about Gettysburg, there's value there. So let me call someone up to see if this is a house that was there during the Civil War battle, and if it's rare and everything like that. I know one guy who will know everything about it.
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay? And then if it checks out, I'll figure out what it's worth. Okay? So give me 5 minutes, I'm gonna give him a call.
Okay.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay, thanks.
So this is the photograph, he says, is of the Wentz house, and I know next to nothing about it, so.
The Civil War was interesting because that was the first war that we photographed. In this case, you're talking Gettysburg. You're talking the battle that changed the war. And when you talk about the Wentz house, during the battle, the 17th Mississippi went through Sherfy's peach orchard, which was right across the street from the Wentz house. So John Wentz, he's in his house as this battle is churning around.
He knows all this stuff because he was there.
No, I only look like it. The Wentz house is an interesting one. There's no known photograph of the Wentz house that existed during the battle. There is, however, a drawing, and I was able to track that down. In order for something to be correct, everything has to match. So this is not the Wentz house. The Wentz house was actually only a story-and-a-half tall log structure. In looking at this, it's wood frame and it's a wood house.
Right.
It doesn't quite fit. It had nothing to do with the battle. It's not the house that people would be particularly interested in.
So this is not the Wentz house. This is not, you can't confirm it's any Gettysburg.
Yeah, it could be another structure that was at Gettysburg. That I can tell you. But it's not the Wentz house.
Thanks, man.
Not a problem. Very good to meet you. Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Anytime you have a significant portion of one of the pivotal battles of the Civil War, somebody can find a photograph of that. Any collector would love to have it. This photo is a probably late 1860s farmhouse. Whether it was at Gettysburg or not, that I can't say, but it is not the Wentz house from the Battle of Gettysburg.
At this point, I don't know what it is. All I know is it's a period photograph. It'd be really hard for me to even retail this at any price. So
sure,
it's just not for me. Have a good one, man.
All right. Well, thanks for looking at it.
No problem.
I've never dueled a
So
king
Mark
before.
might be a little bit smarter than me. A little bit.
This is our 1942 North American AT-6 Texan. I bet I could do a pretty good job of crashing this thing. The guys came down from the pawn shop to look at my AT-6 Texan. The reason I want to sell this airplane is my wife and I would like to build a house. I'm asking $185,000. It's absolutely worth every penny of it.
So it's a 1942.
It's a very famous airplane. In World War II, this was the airplane the government used to train all our pilots. The Tuskegee Airmen all flew this airplane down in Alabama. It has a newly overhauled engine.
So how fast is it?
Oh, this airplane will cruise at 200 miles an hour.
It's pretty badass.
So how much do you want for it, my man? $185,000.
We're actually interested in buying it. So I asked my buddy Matt to come on down, check it out.
Dennis, nice to meet you.
Before we made an offer.
Well, the Texan's an awesome plane. This aircraft was great for training not only our fighter pilots, but also our bomber pilots, the B-17, the B-24 pilots. During World War II, we dominated the skies. This aircraft helped train those pilots to get to that final step. So after this, it's ready for combat. It's got a clean cockpit setup. This aircraft is fairly basic to fly. Literally, it's up, down, left, right to maneuver the aircraft. You've got a pretty easy throttle. So the last thing to do here is to take this airplane flying. Dennis and I should go airborne.
Yeah, let's take her up.
All right, let's do it. I've inspected the exterior and the interior of the plane. I'm really excited to fly the aircraft.
I wonder what it's like to just hop in any plane you see and be able to fly.
I don't know, but I think it would be pretty cool.
Okay, ready to go? Okay, here we go, man.
I thought the aircraft performed very well on takeoff. We did a bunch of aerobatics. We did a couple loops, barrel rolls.
Oh my God.
Apparently it works. So how was it?
Awesome. It's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
All right, so what do you think it's worth?
Right now, current market, what we're looking at
So
is
strong.
about 170,000 on the spot.
Dedicated. A man like
All
you
right,
would
well,
never
thanks, Matt.
disappoint a
Okay, you
lady
bet.
in
Great
need.
to see you. Thanks a lot, Matt.
You're a
Appreciate it.
gift, don't you see? A sumptuous feast for His Majesty
So what
on
is
his
your bottom
wedding
dollar?
day. Really?
I'd look at
They
something
are
around
both so touched by your
165,000.
generosity.
You know, we sort of came out here on a whim. So on a whim, I'll give you 140 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, if I buy it off, it's going to sit around for a while. It's going to cost me money to own it, till I resell it, or figure out what the hell I'm going to do with it.
It's a vintage and a classic airplane. There's so much heritage with this. You know what, 157 kind of warm it up a little bit for you?
No, I mean, I'd go like 140 on it if you take it.
You know, if you come up just a little bit, at 145, we'd be shaking hands.
I'll tell you what, my man. I'm going to go back and do a little bit more research. If I think we can pay 145 for it, I'll give you a call and we'll do it. But right now, I'm going to hold you at 140.
Boy, we were really close, so maybe there'll be a phone ringing between here and Vegas.
Have a good one, man.
All right, thanks a lot, guys, for coming out.
I'm bummed we got that close and couldn't make a deal. But I'm glad it was me and Corey that got to check out the plane. What is this?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it could be like a really old and hopefully really expensive coin.
It's George III and Resolution and Adventure. Sailed from England, 1772. This is interesting. Resolution and Adventure were Captain Cook's ships. Okay, you know who he was?
Was he the pirate from Peter Pan or something?
Wrong dude.
Okay. I was cleaning out my grandma's house and found it in one of the boxes. I had no idea that she was into like collecting things like that. Who knows where she got it? Like, I have no idea. I don't really have any use for the coin, or I figured maybe a couple bucks would be great.
Captain Cook worked his way in the annals of history to be one of the greatest ship captains ever. This is the guy who discovered Hawaii.
Wow.
Islands all over the Pacific. He mapped them all out. He invented some really amazing mathematics that helped them navigate where they were going. Captain Cook was an amazing guy. Captain Cook was a naturally brilliant navigator. The maps he made of Newfoundland in the 1750s were so good, they were still using them in the 20th century. If this has some relation to his world-famous voyages, there's some value here. I mean, it looks like maybe it attached to a ribbon. Maybe it belonged to an officer for being on that journey.
Cool.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued, but I don't know if this was made in 1772 or if they sell these in the gift shop in England right next to all the old ships, okay?
Right.
There's some odd things here. I mean, it's one of the most detailed medals I've ever seen from that time period.
Well.
And that's why I'm thinking it's a lot newer than that, but there's that little chance it's something.
Okay.
How much you want for it?
I'd be thrilled with 50 or 100 bucks.
Can you wait around so I can get someone to look at it? I'm really, really interested.
Okay, I definitely have the time, so thanks.
I'm going to call the Rain Man of Coins.
Okay.
I should be able to get him down here in 15, 20 minutes, all right?
Awesome. Thank you very much. I started to see dollar signs when he was like really excited about it, pointing out all these awesome, cool things about it. Yeah, I think the expert will let us know exactly what it is, what it's worth. I'm excited to hear what they have to say.
It's a very interesting item. This is a Resolution and Adventure medal. This journey lasted 3 years, from 1772 to 1775. He went down past the bottom of the African continent. He circumnavigated the southern portion of South America. He went to Fiji, Tahiti, New Zealand, Easter Island. He went everywhere. Captain Cook was really one of the most important explorers in modern history. In his third journey, Captain Cook tried to capture a Hawaiian. They objected and murdered him, along with some of his top men.
What do you think?
This is really an historical item. They made 2,000 of these, but all of these went to Captain Cook, every single one of them in a cask, and he carried them on his journey.
Wow.
He was to give them out to local chiefs as tokens of esteem.
So, I mean, so when he would land it on an island, he would hand a few of these out, and, you know, everyone would ooh and ah, because a lot of these islands where he's landing at, the indigenous people haven't even discovered metalworking yet.
Right. These would have been extremely interesting to the recipients. And so each one of these is pedigreed right back to Captain Cook. He handled every one of them. There may have been some left over. This may have been one that was presented and then handed down generations or found in the soil.
All right, so did they ever restrike these?
They struck the original batch. Certainly people have tried to counterfeit them by casting them later, but this is struck, and it has this loop on top, and all of them had that.
Okay.
But it's the real McCoy. This is...
I mean, so that was struck in 1772?
Absolutely.
Oh. To hear Dave say this is from the 1700s is amazing. But the fact that this was actually in Captain Cook's hand, it's a real piece of history from one of the greatest explorers that ever lived. So what do you would think it would go for at an auction?
This one's actually in pretty good condition. Very nice looking piece. Has some of the original lighter brassy color to it. To me, it's about a $7,500 to $8,500 item.
That's amazing. $75 to $8,500 for that?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
This was once owned and handled by Captain Cook, so it's far more than just a medal. It's an historical object with a fantastic pedigree, and collectors are willing to pay for that.
Okay. Should have just gave you your 50 bucks.
Yeah. I think it's worth a couple more than 50 bucks. I feel like I should ask for what it's worth. So 7,500?
No. You know what? I'm gonna give you $5 grand for it. Okay. You know why I'm gonna give you $5 grand for it?
Why?
Because you owe it to me.
Why do I owe it to you?
Because remember, an hour ago, you wanted 50 bucks for it.
Oh yeah,
it's you just owe it to me because I just made you all this money.
Well, I guess
think about it. Think about it. Okay, if it wasn't for me, you would have. If you walked in any other place on the planet, they would have gave you your 50 bucks and they would have left. So I think $5 grand is a deal.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll beat you right over there.
Thank you, sir.
This is cool.
I didn't know what I had walking in. When he told me that this is what I'm gonna give you, I was pretty happy with it.
You must own really large chickens.
No, I have no chickens.
So what exactly is this?
This is an elephant bird egg.
Okay.
I bought it for my business. I sell fossils and other natural history things.
I thought you were going to say you sell eggs.
I'm here at the pawn shop today to try to sell my elephant bird egg. I'm hoping to get $2,500 for the egg. I've had the egg for 15 years. I think it's about time that somebody else gets some enjoyment out of it.
This is interesting.
So I know a little bit about the elephant bird. Basically, they were the biggest bird ever. Looked like an ostrich, but it weighed twice as much. It was like a foot taller.
Right. In fact, I have a very old trading card picture of the elephant bird.
This thing would be scary to be around.
I mean, yeah, I think ostriches are scary.
Ostriches are scary.
I know they dig these things up and they like piece them together from several eggshells.
Yeah, from several eggs. Yeah, it's all these are little pieces. So this is made of all elephant bird eggshell, but not from one egg.
All right, looks like they did a good job. It's really, really interesting. They're super collectible. As a matter of fact, fossils nowadays, they're sort of on fire. People are really, really getting into it here lately. How much do you like to get?
I'm thinking $2,500.
Okay, tell you the truth, I have no idea if that's a good number or if it's even made out of eggshell.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I do have a friend, he's a paleontologist. If I can get him down here to take a look at it.
I think that's great.
Okay, I'll be back here in a little bit.
All right.
That's right, I'm calling in an expert.
Wow, elephant bird.
That's what she says.
Ma'am?
Absolutely.
Wow. These are pretty rare. They're often fake, too, though. These fossils are often faked because they are rare and valuable. Porcelain is something that's easily fakeable. These types of eggshells, they're large, they're heavy, and that's a material that can pass to a lot of untrained eyes. So elephant birds could get up to 10 feet tall and weigh as much as 1,600 pounds. So obviously they've laid a big egg. This is actually one of the larger eggs that I've seen. Some were smaller, but this is well within range of what we would expect to see from an elephant bird.
Okay, so is it real?
It looks real, but we need to take a closer look.
Okay.
I'd like to take a look at the surface texture. This lens is going to tell us all we need to know about the surface of the shell. Let's see here. Wow, there it is, Rick. See those long grooves in the shell right there? That's what we would expect to see from an elephant bird.
Okay, so we have an actual elephant bird egg.
We do have an actual elephant bird egg. It is a composite. Who knows how many different eggs this thing is made of. But there is some condition issues that I'd like to point out. All of these aberrations here, that's where the pieces didn't quite fit together. So rather than taking the time to find pieces that fit better, they just kind of ground them into place. That's really going to affect the value.
So tell me, is it worth an elephant load of cash?
I would appraise this egg $5,900 is a fair appraisal of this specimen.
I like your opinion.
Okay. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so you want $2,500 for it?
Well, now I'm thinking 3,000.
It's a very small market. It's very weird. It will eventually sell. Tell you what, I'll give you $2,800 for it. That's more than a fair price.
Are you sure you can't do 3,000?
No. I'm offering you more than you are asking.
I know, that's true. But your paleontologist really got my hopes up.
$2,800 is the best I could do.
If it's really your best, fine. Okay.
All right, sweet. We have a deal. If you just go around the corner, do some paperwork, I'll get you paid.
Okay. I think it's a fair enough price. It's more than I came in for, so I'm happy.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
What do we got?
We got a 1984 Olympic boxing ticket stub with a few autographs on it you might be interested in.
And I know the signatures right off the bat. That's Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson. This is in 1984, and back then Holyfield had 2 ears, right?
I'm at the pawn shop today to try and sell my 1984 Olympic boxing ticket stub. Back in the day, I was a big fan of boxing, so I drove down to the arena every day and became friendly with the U.S. boxing team. The ticket does have a little sentimental value. The time that I spent with the Olympic boxers was special to me. I'm looking to sell it because you can't take the ticket with you, and you can do some good with the money. I'm hoping to get $500 for this ticket stub.
This is definitely cool. This was the '84 Olympic Games held in Los Angeles. How did you get him to sign it?
Well, it was a day where the Olympic U.S. team had a bye. They were all in the street clothes, so I was kind of hanging out with them. Mike's head was hanging low because he was riding the pine.
Yeah, Mike Tyson was there as an alternate. I mean, he really didn't have anything to do unless somebody got injured or hurt, right?
Yeah. I knew he was young and didn't have any money, and first time on an airplane, so I took him to lunch. I just wanted to kind of lift his spirits a little bit. Came back, they were still hanging out. The guy we kind of sat next to was Evander, and that's when I got Evander Holyfield.
Holyfield won the bronze medal for the light heavyweight division. After these games, both these guys were huge. I mean, they both went pro immediately after that. By 1988, they were both the creme de la creme of heavyweight boxing. Tyson and Holyfield fought in 1996. I'm sorry, he just wasn't prepared to fight Holyfield. The second time, 1997, Tyson said he was sick of getting headbutted, so he decided to, for whatever reason, bite off Holyfield's ear. So it's history. It's definitely cool, so what are you looking to do with it?
It's been a long time. I think I'm ready to sell.
Any idea what you're looking to get?
I think $500 is a fair price.
Okay. You know, you got something really interesting here. I've never seen anything like this. You know, if you just brought me Mike Tyson's signature, I would have just said, you know, they're not really that much money. Same thing with Evander Holyfield. But the fact that they're on the same thing at an event that they were both at long before they were really famous or anything like that, I mean, I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of interesting. I think it could be worth some money. Do you mind if I have a guy come in and take a look at the signatures?
Please do.
All right, I'll be back in a few.
My one concern with the expert coming in to validate the signatures is the rarity. Probably not seeing many adolescent signatures from those boxers back in the day, so that concerns me.
Hey, what's up, Steve?
Hey, Corey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. He's got his ticket stub from the '84 Olympics signed by Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson.
Really? I have to be honest with you. Don't really see that too often.
Touching this makes
the
me
two of them
feel
together from that
quite
period,
strange.
because no one was really asking these guys when they were amateurs. It'd be pretty rare.
You know, these guys were both kids back then.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to think about it. Tyson was just, you know, an amateur. I think he was 17 years old, something like that, right in that range.
He just turned 18.
And Holyfield was a couple years older than him. Both came out of kind of rough areas, you know, and they're tough kids, some great fighters.
I mean, Steve, obviously it's a weird item. I mean, are these their autographs?
I've only seen, I think, one other ticket signed by them. That's it. So it's pretty scarce to have them on an item together, especially an Olympic ticket. So the first thing obviously I want to do is take a look at the ink on this thing and kind of just see what we're dealing with, Corey. And it looks like a ballpoint pen on Tyson, and same thing for Evander Holyfield. So it's a blue ballpoint pen. So both are live on there, no problems with that. Tyson, very difficult to find any kind of signature from him from that period. I've seen just so few of them. This is from one of the only I've ever seen signed, and it's literally the same type of signature. The Holyfield autograph, very basic, very neat, and he takes his time with it. So, tell you the truth, you got a winner here.
Okay. So what would something like this go for?
Well, you know, with the two of them together, I think it's significant. Their history together kind of makes it worth more money. And these are two of the most iconic boxers of all time. This one is special. And in today's marketplace, you're looking at about $2,000.
Oh, wow.
My kids told me it was going to be a big hit, but I thought not that big of a hit.
I'd say it's one of the neatest Olympic items from '84 I've ever seen.
Wow.
All right, man. Steve, thanks for coming by.
Yep, good luck with that. Take care.
All right, so deal, 500.
Wow, you shouldn't have brought him in.
What do you take for it?
1,500.
I'll double what you came in asking for and give you 1,000.
It's more than fair, but knowing how rare it is now, I think I'll stay at 1,500.
You know, me having to sell this thing, you know, I might get somebody coming in offering me $1,700 for it. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna get. So I'm just gonna have to stick at 1,000.
I think after holding it for 37 years, I can hold on for a couple more.
Well, my offer will stand, so if you ever want to come back, please do, okay?
I appreciate
Take
that.
care.
Thanks. You tried to hook me for $1,000. Based on the rarity, I think I'm gonna pass. Take it home, put it in a nice frame, and let everybody see it.
Okay. So what exactly you got here?
It's a World War II ammunition hand cart.
All right, do you know much about it?
It's a rusty old car with broken down tires. What else do you need to know?
Believe it or not, I got it out of a garbage pile.
It looks like it belongs in a garbage pile.
I really don't know a lot about it. Thought it would make a cool flower pot, but then when I saw the placard on it with the date, I was thinking maybe this thing's worth some money.
So how would this work? Would you like hook it up to a horse?
I imagine there was a handle right there, but you would hook it up to a Jeep if you needed to, just moving stuff around. The thing's built like a tank. I mean, obviously it was built so it could be shot. Do you know which company made it or anything like that?
There's a placard on it that just tells what area it came from.
Okay, we got a hand cart and Rock Island Arsenal. It's from World War II, I imagine. Basically, every bit of industry was making something for the war. You know, most people don't realize this. During World War II, there was no cars made for personal use. The saying was, stop making what you're making, start making stuff for the war. During World War II, America's policy was basically all hands on deck. Everyone was expected to help with the war effort. And a cart like this was an important piece of equipment. It could haul ammo, food, medical supplies. And in a pinch, you could throw a wounded soldier on it and bring him back from the battlefield. Fully restored, these things can fetch a pretty penny. So how much you want for this thing?
I actually had it in a paper for sale with zero research.
I put it in for $500.
So obviously it didn't sell for $500.
Not yet.
All right. Yeah, I mean, the one great thing you do have is it's all here. I mean, it looks neat, it looks interesting. There's a lot of collectors for stuff from World War II. My problem is, I don't even know if it'd be worth fixing up. Do you mind if I call someone? I got one buddy who knows about this stuff, and if it's not worth restoring, he might buy it off you for parts.
All right.
All right?
Pretty nervous. If it turns out to be a piece of crap, I guess I have a new flower pot.
It's a rare find. Most of them went to Europe during World War II. They were used to carry everything from food to a 50 caliber machine gun. Even mortars were put in these things. This is probably made in the early 40s, and they were pretty useful. As a matter of fact, in the 1962 movie, The Longest Day, when the Duke got wounded, they put him in here and carried him into battle. It was just really cool, and they're friggin' hard to find.
Good news for me, I guess, huh?
Yeah. When I walked in, I knew it was a hand card from World War II. Everything was carried in. Felt sorry for the guys that had to pull them, but these things went all over Europe, and they pulled a lot of things and put a lot of miles on them. Really, it's not in bad shape. You got all the original castings and everything. Original wheels, bearings, which is hard to find.
So how much is this thing worth the way it sits?
Well, these were selling for $1,500 to $2,000 in this condition.
Really? Because I thought it was a complete piece of
In a restored condition, you could almost double that.
Shine boldly, so that all may
if it
find
looks like
you
the real thing,
when the night
they're happy.
falls.
All right, so tell me, how much would it cost to restore it?
Probably talking about $1,200 to $1,400.
Okay. Thanks, man.
All
I
right.
really appreciate it.
Thank you.
For a serious collector, this is a must-have. If this guy is not totally crazy with his asking price, I'm gonna try and get it.
I'm afraid. I imagine it. Keep
Honestly,
your life to yourself.
I didn't think it was worth that much either.
I'm still sort of like baffled. I'll tell you what, I'll give you $400 for it. I know he said it was worth a lot more, but I give you $400. I pay him $1,200 to $1,400 to restore it.
Be well.
Before you know it, I'm in this thing close to $2,000. It takes up space in my shop.
That's not too far off of what I was asking in the paper, so I'll take $400 if you'll take a picture of it when you finish it.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of when I finish
That'd
it.
be cool. All right.
All right, $400, friend.
Thanks.
I love it when there's no hack, but I'm still a little worried about this one. If there's any problems with this piece, the restoration goes over budget, there goes my profit. Hopefully, it all pans out.
So what do you guys think?
পুরুষদের স্ক্যাল্প 60% বেশি তেলতেলে ও তাদের মাথায় হয় বেশি ড্যান্ড্রাফ, তাই 100% পুরুষদের জন্যই তৈরি ক্লিয়ার মেন। জিরো তেলতেলে ভাগ ও জিরো ড্যান্ড্রাফ। জিরো ড্যান্ড্রাফ, দীর্ঘস্থায়ী ফ্রেশনেস।
Well, this thing looks pretty good. Does look cool. Looks straight out of G.I. Joe, the movie. Well, hey, we'll grab our rifles, we'll grab our guns, and we'll join.
It doesn't look anything what it looked like.
Well, it took a lot of work. Actually, this little small thing was so intense to get it done. It was pretty tough.
What'd you have to do?
Well, I ripped the floor out and actually made new ribs for it. Put all the original holes where they're supposed to be. So that way, if you want to mount 50 caliber, you can. I think you can mount it.
Yeah, I mean, I was absolutely shocked that it looks like this thing right here. When I gave it to you, it was like that.
You gotta realize this thing went through World War II. You know, it was just a tough life this thing had.
You were telling me before, this stuff like $2,500?
I'll be honest with you. I would start at 20 minutes and feel where you're comfortable from there. I wouldn't let it go for a dime less. Because the collectors that go for these, you know, it's got to be original with the numbers on there. It's hot.
So what are the numbers?
It's the 6th Vehicle Headquarters, 3rd Division. So you should be able to get a good price for it.
Big question, how much are you?
Well, like I say, I told you 1,400, and that's it.
Okay, let me go pay you.
Let me see what it looks like with a little weight in there.
So you can pull 185 pounds?
Yeah, but you're more like 240. Chum looks like a real soldier pulling Rick around. I'm surprised Rick even got in the cart.
Slow down, chump. Slow down. What do we have here?
I have a photo of and letter by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
Now, that's cool. Longfellow, he was the biggest there was. Unfortunately, today, I would say close to 99% of Americans can't even name a poet.
Probably not. I got this in the mid-'70s. I went to an auction. There was this table just full of what looked to me to be junk. In that group of stuff was this letter and photograph already framed. I bid $20 on it. My kids aren't interested in it, so you may as well see what I can get for it here at the pawn shop.
Is it a poem?
No, it's basically a letter. I think this dear madam, whoever she was, wrote to him for a photograph and some autographs to use in a fair. And he's sending that to make some money for the fair.
Okay, that is definitely cool. We live in such a different society now. In the 19th century, poetry was so important. It really was. I mean, the guy who wrote poems was as big as a huge author or a really big actor.
Exactly.
And he really was a superstar back then. This is the guy who, when he passed away, they put there was a statue or a bust or something like that in Westminster Abbey in England, okay?
In Poets' Corner, yeah.
And I think he was the only American ever put in there, up to that point. There might be some now, but I think up to that point, he was the only one there.
Yeah.
And if you know how snooty the English were, especially back then, they still hadn't forgiven us for beating them in 2 wars. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was the most popular poet in the United States in the 19th century. Almost every kid in school in this country has learned about the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. That poem created the legend of Paul Revere. Longfellow really was that influential. I'm assuming this is all real. I mean, the ink looks like from the period. How much were you looking to get?
I was hoping to get like $300 for it.
A big concern I have here is this is one of the most famous men in the United States. Okay? It wouldn't surprise me if this guy got hundreds of letters every day. I don't know if he could respond to every one of them. Sometimes they would have a secretary write the letter, or he might have done the whole thing himself. This might have been with his secretary. You take care of those. Well, give me a couple. I'll take care of those myself.
Cool.
I am a writer.
I guess we'll never know, will we?
Okay. No, there is a way. If you can hang out for a little bit here, I would like to get my friend down here to take a look at it. I have a friend that's a handwriting expert. He's one of the most respected people in this field. Hang out a few minutes. I'm going to go give him a call, and we'll get this figured out.
Cool, thanks. I'm sort of hyped about him bringing in an expert. It may surprise me. It may make me go back in my car and cry. I don't know. We'll see.
Where am I?
What's up, Rick? Good to see you. Everything in this world is great.
I like hearing that. How you doing?
Hey there, how are you?
This is it. This is what I called you about. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
You know, in terms of what this is, it's got great potential. In all honesty, this guy's really sought after. It's really neat, you know, if it checks out.
I love it.
So don't get your hopes up yet. Back when Longfellow was alive, poets were very popular. And that's why he kind of had that rock star status. He'd get paid a lot of money. Just for one poem, he could get paid at that time up to $3,000. What I want to do is take a look at the ink on here, and there's going to be several indicators, especially how the ink kind of adheres to the paper. So I'm going to follow the signature along here, and it kind of looks like it starts off pretty strong, okay? But the more I'm moving along here, you see how it gets very faint towards the end. So he's using a quill to write with.
As the ink's running out.
And the ink's running out of the quill.
What was that? Wow.
No doubt about the ink on here. So that's one good sign, okay? The next thing I want to do is I want to pull up the examples that I have on file here. On this example, yours very truly. We see yours very truly. I mean, we're looking at live ink.
Okay, so it's all legit.
Absolutely, there's no question about it.
So, what do you think it's worth?
The value on this piece, especially with the beautiful signature on there, the photograph, the framing, everything included, right around $1,500.
Cool.
Cool? Good luck. Good to see you. Yep.
Thanks so much.
You bet, man. Take care. Well, you know, there's a lot of different collectors that would kind of tap into this piece, and I think an autograph collector, first and foremost, would want it. Someone asking for his autograph in 1881. I think that's about as cool as it gets.
What'd you want for this? $300?
That's in the past.
Okay.
I have a little more information now. I don't think $300 is going to do it for me. I would sure like to see $900 for it.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you $700. Okay, you walked in here wanting $300. I had your stuff authenticated for you.
Yeah.
And I'm offering you more than double what you were asking. Okay, I think it's more than fair of me for $700.
Yeah, let's do 700.
Sweet.
Thank you, sir.
I will meet you right over there, and I will get you some cash.
Oh, I like that. 700 isn't 900, but, you know, it's okay. It's a whole lot more than 300. I may go back home and dig through the closets again, see what I can find.
Hey, how's it going? Sir, got some old school Viking artifacts for you.
All right. Whoa. I mean, this is definitely some money right here.
I really want to make a couple $1,000s a day. It's a couple of items. I didn't know exactly what they were. The prized possession, I believe, is this gold Viking.
That's two for me,
bracelet.
August.
And the things I had to trade for it, it better be one of a kind.
All right, so where did you get this stuff?
I have a buddy that lives in England, and he has an antique store, and we buy and we trade from each other. And I had something he wanted, so he happened to trade me for this stuff.
All right. These are more like fragments of something.
Yeah, brooch.
Obviously some kind of jewelry. I mean, all this stuff is... I mean, the problem is, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
These two are really intriguing. This is really neat. I think it's what's left of a copper bracelet.
Okay. It's my favorite piece out of all of them.
You almost never see legitimate Viking items here in the U.S. Even smaller broken pieces, like some of the things in this collection, could be worth a lot of money if they're authentic. Because real Viking items are hard to come by. I'm not even sure what everything is, but you never want to dismiss anything too quickly. There might be a diamond in the rough. Did you know much about the Vikings? I mean, just in general?
I knew there were bullies. I like how they would come in and just gangster everything around.
And yeah, that's basically what they did. These were the most iron men you ever seen in your life. And just the way their culture developed was that they just believed it was a lot easier just to go take stuff from people than to actually trade with them. You know, if you went to most parts of Europe, there was planting season. Well, in Scandinavia, they planted crops and everything, but there was also raiding season. I have always been fascinated with Viking history. Their exploits are legendary, and I would just love to get something that's authentic. But I have to make sure they're truly Viking and not just rusty bits of stuff he dug out of the ground.
I'm assuming you want to sell this stuff.
Yes, I would love to sell them.
All right. And did you have an idea what you wanted for this stuff?
I was thinking around $1,000.
Okay. Now, this stuff right here, okay, I can't tell you when it was made.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if this is Celtic from like Ireland or Scotland.
It's haunted.
Okay. I can't tell you anything about it. Okay. I can't tell you when this was made, but I can tell you this is gold. So there's a lot more than $1,000 in the gold here. So I do have a friend. He is in town. I met him in New York, and he actually works on the Viking collection there at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Can I have him look at them?
That's not a problem.
Okay.
There is a fine line between consideration and hesitation. The former is wisdom.
I know he's calling in an expert, but that makes it better for me. So him calling the expert just puts money in my pocket.
This is my Viking friend.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Laird is the most knowledgeable guy I have ever met when it comes to Viking history and artifacts. He's been collecting this stuff for almost 20 years, and some of his items are in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So I'm hoping he can tell me more about these pieces and what they're worth.
What was the thing with the little hats they would wear with the horns on? The weird hats. I call them the weird hats, but...
Well, the weird hats actually come from Wagner's operas. They were an improvisation of what they thought Viking helmets might look like. You know, they really thought of it as a very barbaric people. Vikings actually never wore horned helmets. We know very little about what Viking helmets actually were. There's been 1 or 2 finds of Viking helmets. Remember, these are iron items, and they didn't last long in the ground. I guess before I proceed, did this all come as part of one collection?
Yeah, it was all together, all one.
If we look at what I'd say is this group of items right here, this is diagnostically Baltic Viking.
Baltic Viking, is that not Viking?
Well, I think the academics would say technically it's not Viking. These are tribes that were not necessarily as migratory as the Vikings or as warlike. They were contiguous with the Viking areas, and they traded quite a bit with them, and they copied their style of garb, their style of decorations. If you or I were put back in time and we walk in on these people, they would have looked like Vikings to us.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you see a lot of these types of items on auction sites right now.
Because of that, the value's very low to negligible on these items. This particular piece caught my eye. This is part of a bracelet. It's a copper alloy. And so Viking currency, what they would do to trade is they would just cut bits of bronze and silver and they'd weigh it out. The merchants all carried scales, and that's how they would transact. This item is probably worth $50.
There you go.
The complete bracelet is obviously larger and more interesting. The dragon head terminals are really an attempt to copy Viking jewelry that was being made in Sweden at the time, around the 10th century. And this item would probably be worth about $175 to $200.
All right, and this stuff?
This stuff, this is based on its size, and certainly not a Viking spear. It's an arrowhead of some sort. It could date from any time in Europe. I'd have to defer on that. It's not worth a lot, but it's certainly outside of my range of expertise.
And the bracelet?
The bracelet it appears to be Viking gold.
So you're saying this is legit Viking gold, the magical gold?
Well, I can't endorse any magic to it, but I would say it would appear from its form and how it's manufactured, these pliated wires, to be very traditional Viking. Obviously, it would appear to be the star of this group of items. Auction estimates on it would be something between 6,000 to 8,000 British pounds, which would be, and I'll leave it to you to translate.
Please translate, my fine friend.
6,000 pounds would be right around 9,400 bucks.
Man, I knew it was worth something. He quoted the bracelet at over $9,000, and I think that's great because I only thought I was going to get $1,000 out of it. So looks like I hit the jackpot.
Well, thanks for coming in, man.
I really appreciate it. If you want to see some real exciting stuff, I've got a couple swords that I'd be happy to bring by the shop and show you.
Oh, bring them by. I'll take a look.
Terrific. Hey.
Appreciate you, buddy.
No problem.
All right.
My pleasure.
All right.
I'm going to show you what I want. Okay, these right here, I want to give you 150 bucks for it.
I was thinking more along the lines of about 400. You heard what the guy told you.
I know what he told me, but I don't have a lot of customers going, hey, dude, you got some Viking jewelry? I'll go $200.
If you can do that, you can do it 300.
I'll tell you what, I'll do 250.
You sure that's the best you can do?
Keep them then.
250.
All right, we got a deal, 250. Now this right here, I was thinking right around $6,000.
I was thinking around $8,000.
Okay, plain and simple, I'll give you $7,000. I will not give you any more. That is what I will give you. It is a more than fair price.
75?
No, $7,000. Okay, I mean,
you're a hard guy.
I'm not a hard guy to deal with it. You're the one who walked in here and wanted $1,000 for all of it, and you're walking out of here with $7,250.
Okay, well, for the magical gold, we'll have to settle at that, buddy.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm gonna box this stuff up, and I will meet you right over there at the pawn counter.
Okay. 7,200. I'm gone. Hit the jackpot straight to the bank. Let's get on.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, how's it going?
Pretty good. What can I do for you?
I just came in to sell my helmet.
How did you get this?
So we were at an estate sale, me and my sister, and I came across it. That was super cool. It reminded me of an old football helmet, from like the 1800s.
Are you a football player or something?
Yeah, used to be.
I feel like Magneto. Xavier won't get anything from me.
I'm here at the pawn shop today to try and sell my iron helmet. It's really, really old looking, and kind of thought it'd just be something cool to have. I've done a little bit of research on it, and I'm hoping to sell the helmet today here for about $750.
Man, this thing is sexy. I'm by far no expert on these, but it looks like the craftsmanship of the time from the 6th, 7th, 8th century, They obviously didn't have the same type of tools we have for precision cutting and stuff today, so it just looks really, really cool. It's an Anglo-Saxon helmet. They would have been worn by, all kinds of people. Even the Vikings would have worn something similar like this. I think it's made out of iron. I'm pretty buff, so it doesn't seem very heavy, but I mean, it probably weighs, about 5 to 8 pounds maybe, I'm thinking?
Yeah.
If you're getting an arrow shot at your head, I'd rather have this than a piece of wood there, right?
Yeah.
This is gonna protect you a lot more. How much are you looking to get?
I want to get $750 for it.
Honestly, I don't know if it's worth $7.50 or $7,000. I really have no idea. If it's real, it could be worth more than that. I'd like to have my guy come down, test it, see if it's from the period, and maybe we'll be able to make a deal.
Awesome, sounds great.
Find something to buy just in case you get some money.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm really excited for an expert to come in and take a look at it. I'm hoping you can authenticate it so I can get exactly what I want.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Chumley, how you doing, bud?
Whoa, whoa, it wasn't me.
Take a step back. So that's what you called me down for. I thought you said you had a sexy helmet.
Oh, well, it was on me, so it was sexy for quite a few minutes.
No, it's not a sexy helmet. What you've got appears to be an authentic Anglo-Saxon helmet. But to find one in this condition, you just don't find them. Iron doesn't last for 1,500 years. When you find them, they're usually powder. So my guess, this wouldn't have been found in the ground. It would have either been in a bog or possibly a river, someplace where there wasn't a whole lot of oxygen that could get to it to have it deteriorate.
What do you got to do to test it out and make sure it's real?
This little gun will shoot a little beam of X-ray into it. If everything goes right, the XRF is going to show me the metals it's made out of, and that will tell me if it's carbon steel, which is how it would have been made 1,500 years ago. So let's take a look at it. So it's made 99.76% iron, and then traces of copper, zinc, chromium. This is carbon steel, so this is what it should be made out of.
Okay. It's official?
It's a 1 in a million. I mean, it's that rare. I've got goosebumps. I just don't see these things. I mean, this is just...
Well, I got goosebumps now, too. What kind of person would, collect something like this?
It's a museum piece or somebody who is a refined collector and wants to show off that, man, I've got something that nobody else has. It's very desirable.
All right, and the most important question, what's it worth?
A lot. $15,000.
$15,000?
$15,000.
Now I'm sad I didn't buy it for $750.
Shouldn't have called me.
Well, I appreciate you coming in.
My pleasure.
If I make a sale, I'll give you a call and let you know. See you later. All right. He said it's worth about $15,000. It's a small market, but it is desirable. Would you be able to take $7,500?
No, I can't do $7,500. The expert said $15,000, so I think we'll start at $15,000. It's 1 in a million fine.
I'm not going to be able to pay you $15,000. You got to give me some room in here. What? Give me a good number to keep the cash.
How about 11,000?
11,000 is a lot better than 15,000, but still more than I want to pay. 95.
Almost a little bit more than 95. I know. Just telling you the rarity of it and the condition it's in.
I really can't. 9,500 leaves me a good amount of room. And I have to sell it. Could see it for a year, could see it for 2 days.
$10,000?
10 big ones. I'm not gonna let it walk over 500. So for $10,000, you have to do it.
$10,000 is good.
Pleasure. I'll meet you over at the counter.
I'm shocked. I had no idea it was worth that much. I can't believe I'm leaving here today with $10,000. Just blows my mind.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up?
I'm looking to sell a book.
Sell a book? What kind of book is it?
It's an annual registry of 1776. The Declaration of Independence is printed in it.
Wow.
I brought an annual registry of 1776, which contains a copy of the Declaration of Independence. I'm looking to sell my book today to take my lady out here in Las Vegas, get her drunk, and maybe she'll marry me.
This is 1777 in England, okay? When this came out, this was all news from the year previous. But the compiling of information was not really great back then. And this was basically the 1777 version of Wikipedia. People come in here all the time with random items they know very little about. But I actually know what this is. It's like a journal that covers the major events of the year. Imagine the people in England reading this and trying to make sense of this ragtag group in the colonies that were willing to put their lives on the line. to fight against the most powerful country in the world. I'm sure a lot of them were none too pleased. Where did you get it?
That was my grandfather's.
Okay.
And we recased it to stabilize the book so pages wouldn't fall out.
Generally, you don't restore old books, just so you know. Unless it's like absolutely necessary.
It was absolutely necessary.
Looking through it, it's most likely pro-English. It would probably be a really interesting read, everything they have to say about those damn colonists, trying to rebel from the king. All right, here we go. The Articles of the Confederation.
What's all that about?
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Oh. The Articles of the Confederation is the first constitution of the United States.
Oh, okay.
All right, what do you want to do with it?
I'm going to sell it.
How much were you looking to get at?
$2,000.
I'm intrigued. I'm deeply intrigued because something printed in 1776 and has things like the Declaration of Independence in it. Could be some serious money. Son, do me a favor. Before you leave, let's call Rebecca. All right. Love you too. Rebecca knows everything there is to know about books.
Okay.
Why don't you look around for a little bit? We'll wait on Rebecca and.
Cool. Sounds good.
It's amazing to think what was going on in the world when this book was published. And the fact that this is printed in a British point of view makes it really interesting. I have to be honest, I've never seen anything like this. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Rick. Nice to see you.
A guy brought in an old annual register. These things aren't usually a big deal, but this one is from 1776. It includes the Declaration of Independence and the Articles of the Confederation. It's an amazing find, and Rebecca's going to help me come up with a price. That's it.
Really cool.
One bad thing is, though, he did rebind it.
This is definitely a rebind and definitely a recent rebind. But it will affect the value of the book, just so everyone knows.
That's your opinion.
Oh, no, it's
That
not
is
her
my
opinion.
opinion.
She knows.
You know, you come to me for an appraisal, I'm going to give you my opinion.
Okay.
So that's what you're going to get. So you've got the Annual Register. This is actually a pretty important publication at the time. It was edited by Edmund Burke, who was a member of Parliament. He was famous, incidentally, for supporting the American colonists in the Revolution.
Okay.
For example, he gave a very famous speech supporting the repeal of the tea tax. You know, the tea tax that led to the Boston Tea Party. So.
That's where the history was read. I know the real story.
Oh, all right, well, I'm not going to get into that with you. But one thing that's cool about this, too, there are descriptions of battles in here, including the major defeat of Washington in New York. And it was a huge loss for Washington. They had to retreat over the Delaware, very famous. And it was a pretty good example for the English. They're reading about this saying, of course, the American colonists don't stand a chance. The Annual Register was the perfect publication for any kind of gentleman or any educated man who wanted to know what was happening in the world. Not only history, but politics. Anything that people were talking about was put in this magazine.
So, what do we have here?
This is really a landmark here, period. I mean, not only do you have the description of battles, but you have the Declaration of Independence, you have the Articles of Confederation, kind of like banger year.
But that doesn't necessarily equate to value.
You're right. This one, you have issues. I mean, there's a tape repair here, and I really mean literally tape, which is not good. And then, of course, you've got the rebind. So, with all of that in mind, I would value it at about
just in time.
3,000.
3,000? That much?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. All right. You're the best.
Yeah. Happy to help.
Thank you.
Take care.
Awesome.
If Rick decides to go forward with this, I don't think he'll have a hard time finding a buyer. Americana is a huge area in collecting. Everyone loves it.
What's the plan, Stan?
I mean, what's your absolutely best price on it?
Well, let's start at $2,000, and I will not be bartered with. Some money off of that still.
I know, but would you ever pull $3,000 out of your pocket for a book?
For like a first edition Nintendo Power? Yes.
I don't even know what that is.
Let me give you 1,500 bucks.
Let's go 16. We got a deal.
Hey, I'm Joey, and I'm one of the 30 AI voices from SpeechLab. You listen to this video and...
All right, I'll go 1,600 bucks.
Awesome.
I will meet you right up front.
Cool. Sounds good. I feel great. I would have walked away with 1,000 and been just as happy. Don't tell Rick that.
Can't believe that little kid got me. Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Oh, pretty good.
Good. I'd like to sell this gold coin if I could.
Okay. 8 escudos. This is a Spanish stamp here. This is like the royal crest of Spain. So where did you get this?
I got that from my grandfather when he died. He left a safe full of contents.
Any other cool things in the safe?
Not really, no.
No holy grails or anything like that?
No, not to my knowledge.
So,
I'm going into the pawn shop
you
today to
will.
see if I can sell my grandfather's gold coin. He kept it in plastic, so
Go with
it's
courage.
in really good shape. Looks really old, and I don't really have any use for it. So I'm gonna see what they can do for me here.
Do you know much about this?
I don't know much about it at all.
Okay. I know a little bit about the coin. I mean, it's 8 escudos. It was from Lima, Peru. They had like the worst mines in the world. I mean, it was 2,000 feet deep. You would go down, it was cave-ins. There was no ventilation. There was no nothing. It was just really, really brutal. But it made a fortune for the Spanish.
Sure.
When the Spanish occupied Latin America and South America, they used forced slave labor to work the mines. It was a brutal and dangerous job, and the life expectancy was short.
Coins back then were weird. The size didn't have to be exactly correct. It just had to have the right amount of gold, the right weight, and the right purity. When they stamped these coins out, you didn't always get a great strike like this. It's almost too good to be true.
This coin is in exceptional condition, and I've seen similar coins fetch thousands of dollars at auction. So if this is a real piece of Spanish treasure from the 1700s, I want it.
So do you want to pawn it or sell it?
I want to sell it.
What were you looking to get out of it?
I'd like to get 2,000 if I could.
Okay. This coin is in really great shape, but this is easily counterfeited. There's a lot of fakes out there. So I'd really like someone to take a look at it, if you don't mind.
No.
I got a buddy who knows everything there is to know about these. Have him come in, and we'll see what we can do.
Sounds great. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, Carl, how's it going?
Good to see you, Rick. Why'd you get me up so early?
Well, I called you down here for this. It was one of those things that looked a little too good to be true.
I'm an expert on Spanish colonial coins. If you want to know anything about Spanish colonial coins, I'm your man. That's a Lima 8 escudo, and in this corner there's an L, that means Lima, Peru Mint. 8 is the denomination, biggest gold coin the Spanish made. The PVS across the center is an abbreviation for the Latin term plus ultra, meaning more beyond these two columns, which represent the Pillars of Hercules, which was the Straits of Gibraltar. They used to think you sailed out past there, you'd fall off the edge of the world. A few years back, there was a big scandal on some counterfeit.
And that's why I wanted to have it checked out.
Did you throw that on the scale?
Yeah, I did. It's 27.0 grams.
That is right on. Very rarely will they be right on 27 grams. Most castings are underweight. I know your concern is, could it be counterfeit? And there are a lot of counterfeit pieces going around. From everything I can see on this one,
Gold Slayer.
I'd say it's absolutely genuine.
Okay. So what do you think this is worth?
I would put a price tag of $18,000 on it.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you coming in, Carl.
Thank you, Rick. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's like finding treasure.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the big question is, what do you want for it?
Sounds like 18,000 to me.
No, I don't. Why would we give you 10 grand for it?
How about 12?
How about 10 grand?
No, I can take it somewhere else.
How about 10.5?
I could pack it up and go. I wouldn't take anything less than 11,000.
I guess I got to do what I got to do. 11,000.
11,000.
Okay.
Got a
All
deal.
right.
Thank
All
you.
right. Let's go do the paperwork.
You got it. I'm shocked at how much the coin was worth. I had no idea. Considering I was only asking for $2,000 when I first got here, and now I'm getting 11,000, I feel very happy with that.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
All right, just looking around.
Sure.
Unfortunately, even when I'm on vacation, I can't help myself. I'm always looking for deals. One of the weird things about a random antique shop, you'll never know what you'll find. It might just be completely full of junk, might be full of treasures, might be overpriced, might be underpriced. Is the player piano for sale?
Well, everything has its price.
What year is it?
It's 110 years old.
And it works and everything like that?
Yeah, here, try it. It's a hit of the store.
Okay.
What do you think?
So what would you take for it?
It'd have to be more than 10,000.
That's a little more than I want to pay.
Well, I'd be in trouble if I sold it. I'd give it to my wife for her birthday.
How much do you love your wife?
A lot.
Okay. What this place has got going for it, it's pretty damn big, so there might be that one little treasure stashed in a corner somewhere. This is definitely pretty cool. Excuse me.
Question?
Yeah, do you know anything about this?
It's on consignment. I don't know anything about it. Looks like some sort of helmet.
Samurai helmet, it looks like. You're asking $300 for it. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but you're not asking nearly enough for this thing. He had a price for $300. I have a conscience. I believe in karma. I had to tell him what it was worth. Because it could retail for as much as $2,500.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I own the Ugly Trailer Antiques in Hurricane, Utah. With the samurai helmet, I was really surprised that it was worth that much. That blew me away. I think the customer that has it on consignment will be thrilled.
This is actually really cool. This is a samurai helmet from late Edo period.
When is that?
Early 1600s to basically 1868, I believe, somewhere right around in there. You know, you had the emperor, who was like the king, and then you had the samurai, which was sort of like the royal court. They were basically the equivalent of like dukes and earls in England. Over the years, I've seen a few samurai helmets. I've seen a lot of samurai swords. So when you get those things in your store, you try and do a lot of research on them. That way, you know next time they come in, what to look for. I mean, everything on this thing looks right. So how much will you take for it?
What will you give me?
$1,250.
I gotta do a little better than that.
You only wanted $300 to start with. So what will you take for it?
Well, I think after what I've learned about it today, I think we've got to have at least two for it.
$1,500?
Come on, you can do better than that. 17.
I'll go 16.
1650.
All right, 1650.
All right. Let's go write it up.
Usually I say that. Just goes to show when you go into an antique store in a small town, every once in a while you can find something. I think I can sell it quick.
Hey, how's it going?
Well, I was in a while ago. I sold an item to you guys, some crabby old bald-headed guy.
You look like an honest guy, but I still don't trust you.
Must have been my dad.
Oh, how nice for you.
Couldn't agree with you more. What do we got?
This is an 1838 Colt Patterson pistol.
Who are you, Pistol Pete?
I am not Pistol Pete. That sucks. I'm a military and gun collector. I swap, buy, trade a lot of different guns. This was the first gun built by Samuel Colt. I'd like to get $15,000 for this gun. If pressed, I could probably go as low as $12,000.
So what's so special about this gun? Before this gun, the only real reliable guns out there were the single-shot cap and balls. This was the first successful repeating gun.
Yeah, this was the very first one that used a rotating cylinder for a single barrel. The cool thing about this particular piece is that this gun belonged to William R. Manning, who was a Civil War colonel. It's got William R. Manning's name engraved on it, on the grip there. Buffalo Bill got this gun from him at some point, returned it to his daughter, May Manning Lilly and her husband, who was Pawnee Bill.
Forgive me, I don't know who Manning is. I know who Peyton Manning is and Eli Manning. That's about it.
They have to be direct descendants. I mean, I'm certain.
I don't know who this Manning is, but Pawnee Bill was a Western showman that did work with Buffalo Bill. We're talking about some of the most iconic figures in the Wild West. If it checks out, we got a major find here.
I think it's easily worth every penny of $15,000 in this condition with this story.
You know, it very well could be, my man. It all goes down to condition and serial numbers, and after all that, I mean, I have to be pretty cautious because last one of these I had come in was actually fake. Mind if I have a buddy of mine come down and check it out? Because, like I said, I can't give you a price on it.
He's not one of those college pukes, is he?
I'm sure he is. He's got that college boy look about him.
No, that would be great. I hope this college puke that they're bringing in doesn't tell me this gun is fake. I'll be quite disappointed.
Oh, here we go, man. Colt Patterson pistol with some Buffalo Bill stuff attached to it.
Wow.
It's a nice piece.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the gun that started it all. This was the very first percussion revolver.
Right.
Colt charted new territory with the development of the Colt Patterson. They made about 1,000, and I would guess there are probably 100 left. They're very, very rare and very, very valuable. What's the story with Buffalo Bill?
This gun originally belonged to a William R. Manning,
okay,
who was a colonel with the 50th Artillery Regiment from Georgia during the Civil War.
He was a Confederate.
He was a Confederate.
Okay.
Buffalo Bill got this gun from him at some point, returned it to his daughter, May Manning Lilly, and her husband, who was Pawnee Bill. It's pretty much laid out here.
Buffalo Bill is a big name in history, and if you've got a gun that can be even tangentially related to him, you're talking a lot of money. The box, I have no doubt, was sold by this family, and I have no doubt there was a gun in it. The question is, was this the gun in the box?
I see.
It does look like old engraving. Another thing you have to look at is the type style. Is this a modern font, or is it an antique font?
Okay.
The engraving does look old, so I'll give you that. Okay. Corey, what are your concerns?
Had fake ones come in before.
You've had fake Colt Pattersons? Yes. Okay, yeah, there are fake Colt Pattersons.
Once you add the whole Buffalo Bill thing to it, I just at a complete loss of what to even offer the guy.
There's a characteristic to the Colt Patterson. The barrel is, okay, the barrel's 7.5 inches long.
Were they standard at 7.5 inches then?
They made them 7.5 inches and they made them 9 inches. This is a standard barrel length, which is good. Now, we talked about this being an early gun. Let's look at the serial number. The serial number will appear usually in 2 places, and they're sort of hard to find places. Pull the barrel off for me. I don't want to be the one that breaks this thing after, you know, there you go. Okay. Yeah, the first serial number is going to be right there. We found it there, and let's see what it says. And the serial number is 2.
Whoa, 2.
Is that good?
Well, let me put it this way. What's the most expensive pistol ever sold in America?
I don't know.
A Colt Patterson. $1 million. Great condition. I mean, it looked brand new. If this gun is serial number 2, it's the second Colt ever made. It's priceless. This is a really big deal.
Okay.
I mean, it's a really big deal. Let's look around for more serial numbers. There's usually one under the grip. And the number is bigger than 2.
How much bigger than 2?
936 numbers bigger than 2.
Oh, man.
Don't be disappointed. This is still a rare gun. You know, very shortly after this gun was made, Colt went bankrupt.
Yes.
One of the things that one of Colt's partners did was that he decided to recover his investment by sort of taking inventory and selling it. And what he did is he continued to assemble and sell Colt Pattersons.
Okay.
And my opinion is that's one of these.
Okay, Colt went out of business.
Yes.
His partner grabbed all the boxes of inventory off the shelves and just started matching guns and putting them together.
Stuffing things together.
Basically, yeah. This doesn't become an undesirable gun. It just means it's got mismatched serial numbers.
Okay. That being said, what's it worth now?
Okay. The condition of the gun is what I would say is maybe poor plus, but there are probably about 150 to 200 Colt Pattersons that even still remain. and that you have a story which I tend to believe. In other words, the totality of the package here to me says that the story's probably true.
Okay.
So that he was a colonel in the Confederate Army, that's a big deal. Buffalo Bill connection, big deal. With everything I've seen, positives, negatives, I'm probably gonna say 25.
100?
1,000.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
May I ask what you're asking?
More than I was when I brought it in.
I'll just say, not knowing that number, pay the money.
Okay.
Pay the money. You're not gonna get another chance.
Appreciate it, man.
Take care. Well, it's not number 2, but it's still a Colt Patterson. There were less than 1,000 of these guns made, and that means something. It means that it's a very rare gun.
Well, you heard what he had to say. What do you want for the gun?
I was asking 15. How about 19?
I'm thinking more in the 12 range.
Oh, God. Let's see. I bring in a gun and you want to rob me? 12 is way too low.
Give me another number. I'm not paying 19 for the gun.
Okay, how about 17?
How about we go back to what you originally wanted for it, and I'll give you 15.
15, huh? Oh, geez. Yeah, I can do 15.
Generally, we'll write you up.
I'm walking out of here with $15,000 green, and I'm gonna use it for my collection to get something I really want.
Hey, how can I help you?
I'd like to try and sell this Colt revolver.
This is cool. Do you know much about it?
I know it's an old piece. I want to say 1800s.
This is a very early Colt single-action army. This is 1870s, and everyone wanted them. And they also had the world's greatest advertising campaign. God made all men, and Colt made them all equal.